The Fort Worth Police Department is trying to train its officers how to deal with aggressive dogs. They're being taught options other than shooting the dogs. Fox 4's Laurie Berger live at Fort Worth Police Training, where training wrapped up for the day, just wrapped up. Laurie, so whenever police get trained or further training, it seems to indicate a problem. Do police think this is a problem?
Well, they do, but they don't think that Fort Worth is alone in this. This is happening across the country. Chief Halstead says his officers need to be better trained to interpret dogs' behaviors and learn how they act and how they should respond. He also believes they should have more options than just pulling their gun when a dog gets aggressive.
5 months ago, Cindy and Mark Bowling lost their dog, Lily.
Our Lily was shot to death by a Fort Worth police officer in front of us on our front porch. She bled to death in our arms.
Fort Worth police investigated. Chief Jeffrey Halstead met with the Bowlings, and together they came up with this, a required 8-hour course for all officers on handling loose dogs. Jim Osorio is the instructor. He says officers are encountering the problem more frequently.
Especially since our economy went down, there's more dogs on the street that people are just abandoning everywhere. And once they get into those packs and they start living off the street and everything, they get them a little more aggressive that way.
Since 2009, Fort Worth police officers have responded to 1,825 dog calls. 849 involved a dog bite. 86 of those were children. In 109 of those incidents, the officer shot at the dog.
So her attitude will change.
Jim Osorio shows with his dog Coral that any dog will bark and look aggressive when a threat is perceived. He says lethal force should be the last option.
We don't need to be needlessly shooting animals if we don't have to.
The Bowlings want to spread that message beyond Fort Worth, across the state and the country.
There are thousands of us who have suffered the loss of a pet child at the hand of a police officer under very similar circumstances.
The officer who shot the Bowlings dog was disciplined. Chief Halstead says he doesn't want anyone else's dog to die like Lily did.
It bothered me professionally and personally because I have a dog, and I would not want this to occur in my pet.
And without specific training for this kind of an encounter, which frankly happens every day, you can imagine there are a lot of mistakes that officers make when an aggressive dog comes toward them, or even they interpret the behavior as aggressive. The experts say the #1 mistake that officers make is showing fear to those dogs, because the dogs will then get into that. They'll be empowered and possibly bite the officer. Steve?
Boy, sure understand both sides. I understand an aggressive dog coming at you. We all know that, too. All right, let's talk about some of the options that are being taught today. We were talking in the meeting. We don't even know. Can a taser be used on a dog, or what can be used? What can help?
Absolutely, and we were shown several different devices. You know, there's the sprays that you can use, similar to what they would use on a person, but the #1 thing that they say that police agencies and animal control are using now is called a control pole, and what that is essentially is an extendable, expandable baton, and on the end of it, it has a steel cable loop, and what you can do is use that steel cable loop to wrap it around the dog's neck, tighten it down, and move that dog. They used it actually when there were 2 kids who were attacked by a couple of pit bulls on the southwest side of town of Fort Worth, that is, a little bit earlier this month, and the folks from Animal Control used that control pole to move the pit bulls from the back of a police cruiser into their truck to get those dogs under control. So that's something that's being advocated not just for animal control, but then for officers to be able to use to control dogs in those situations.
So maybe they'll be issued to officers. All right, Laurie, thank you.